continuing where I left off, "You'll make a note of this here also, doctor," says he, "and the boy'll tell you how I saved his life, and where the pose for it too, and you may lay to that. Doctor, when a man's steering as near the wind as me, playing chuck farthing with the last breath in his body, like you wouldn't think it too much, mayhap, to give him one good word. You'll please bear in mind it's not my life only now, it's that boy's into the bargain, and you'll speak me fair, doctor, and give me a bit o' hope to go on, for the sake of mercy." Silver was a changed man once he was out there, and had his back to his friends and the blockhouse. His cheeks seemed to have fallen in, his voice trembled. Never was a soul more dead in earnest. "Why, John, you're not afraid?" asked Dr. Livesey. "Doctor, I'm no coward. No, not I, not so much," and he snapped his fingers. "If I was, I wouldn't say it. But I'll own up fairly. I've the shakes upon me for the gallows. You're a good man and a true. I never seen a better man, and you'll not forget what I done good, not any more than you'll forget the bad, I know." And I stepped aside. "See here, and leave you and Jim alone. And you'll put that down for me too, for it's a long stretch, is that." So saying, he stepped back a little way, till he was out of earshot, and there sat down upon a tree stump, and began to whistle, spinning round now and again upon his seat, so as to command a sight, sometimes of me and the doctor, and sometimes of his unruly ruffians, as they went to and fro in the sand between the fire, which they were busily rekindling, and the house from which they brought forth pork and bread to make the breakfast. "So, Jim," said the doctor sadly, "here you are, as you have brewed, so shall you drink, my boy. Heaven knows I cannot find it in my heart to blame you, but this much I will say, be it kind or unkind, when Captain Smollett was well, you dare not have gone off, and when he was ill and couldn't help it, George, it was downright cowardly. I will own that I here begin to weep. Doctor, I said, you might spare me. I have blamed myself enough. My life's forfeit anyway, and I should have been dead by now, if Silver hadn't stood for me. And doctor, believe this, I can die, and I dare say I deserve it, but what I fear is torture. If they come to torture me—" "Jim," the doctor interrupted, and his voice was quite changed. "Jim, I can't have this. Whip over and we'll run for it." "Doctor," said I pass my word." I know," he cried. "We can't help that, Jim, now. I'll take it on my shoulders. Holus bolus, blame and shame, my boy. But stay here. I cannot let you jump. One jump and you're out, and we'll run for it like antelopes." "No," I replied. "You know right well you wouldn't do the thing yourself, neither you nor squire nor captain, and no more will I." Silver trusted me. I pass my word, and back I go. "But, doctor, you did not let me finish. If they come to torture me, I might let slip a word of where the ship is, for I got the ship, part by luck and part by risking, and she lies in North Inlet on the southern beach, and just below high water. At half tide she must be high and dry." "The ship!" exclaimed the doctor. Rapidly I described to him my adventures, and he heard me out in silence. "There is a kind of fate in this," he observed when I had done. "Every step, it's you that saves our lives. And do you suppose by any chance that we are going to let you lose yours? That would be a poor return, my boy. You found out the plot. You found Ben Gunn, the best deed that ever you did or will do, though you live to 90. Oh, by Jupiter, and talking of Ben Gunn, why, this is the mischief in person. Silver," he cried, "Silver, I'll give you a piece of advice. he continued as the cook drew near again. Don't you be in any great hurry after that treasure. Why, sir, I do my possible, which that ain't, said Silver. I can only, asking your pardon, save my life and the boys by seeking for that treasure, and you may lay to that. Well, Silver, replied the doctor, if that is so, I'll go one step further. Look out for squalls when you find it. Sir, said Silver, as between man and man that too much and too little, what you're after, why you left the blockhouse, why you given me that there chart, I don't know, do I? And yet I done your bidding with my eyes shut, and never a word of hope. But no, there here's too much. If you won't tell me what you mean plain out, just say so, and I'll leave the helm. No, said the doctor musingly, I've no right to say more. It's not my secret, you see, Silver, or I give you my word. I tell it to you, but I'll go as far with you as I dare go, and a step beyond. For I'll have my wig sorted by the captain, or I'm mistaken. And first, I'll give you a bit of hope. Silver, if we both get alive out of this wolf trap, I'll do my best to save you, short of perjury. Silver's face was radiant. You couldn't say more, I'm sure, sir. Not if you was my mother, he cried. Well, that's my first concession, added the doctor. My second is a piece of advice. Keep the boy close beside you, and when you need help, halo. I'm off to seek it in for you, and that itself will show you if I speak at random. Goodbye, Jim. And Dr. Livesey shook hands with me through the stockade, nodded to Silver, and set off at a brisk pace into the wood. Chapter 31. The Treasure Hunt. Flint's Pointer. Jim, said Silver when we were alone, if I save your life, you save mine, and I'll never forget it. I seen the doctor waving you to run for it. With the tail of my eye I did, and I see you say no as plain as hearing. Jim, that's one to you. This is the first glint of hope I had since the attack failed, and I owe it to you. And now, Jim, we're going to go in for this here treasure hunting, with seal orders too, and I don't like it. And you and me must stick close, back to back like, and we'll save our necks in spite of fates and fortune. Just then a man hailed us from the fire that breakfast was ready, and we were soon seated here and there about the sand over biscuit and fried junk. They had lit a fire fit to roast an ox, and it was now grown so hot that they could only approach it from the windward, and even there not without precaution. In the same wasteful spirit, they had cooked, I suppose, 3 times more than we could eat. And one of them, with an empty laugh, threw what was left into the fire, which blazed it and roared it again over this unusual fuel. I never in my life saw men so careless of the morrow. Hand to mouth is the only word that can describe their way of doing, and what with wasted food and sleeping sentries, though they were bold enough for a brush and be done with it, I could see their entire unfitness for anything like a prolonged campaign. Even Silver, eating away with Captain Flint upon his shoulder, had not a word of blame for their recklessness, and this the more surprised me, for I thought he had never shown himself so cunning as he did then. Aye, mate, said he, it's lucky you have barbecue to think for you with this here head. I got what I wanted, I did. Sure enough, they have the ship where they have it. I don't know yet, but once we hit the treasure, we'll have to jump about and find out. And then, mates, us that has the boats, I reckon, has the upper hand. Thus he kept running on, with his mouth full of the hot bacon. Thus he restored their hope and confidence, and I more than suspect repaired his own at the same time. As for hostage, he continued, that his last talk, I guess, with them he loved so dear. I got my pieces o' news, and thank ye to him for that, but it's over and done. I'll take him in a line where we can go treasure hunting, for we'll keep him like so much gold in case of accidents. You mark in the meantime. Once we got the ship and treasure both and off to sea like jolly companions, Why then we'll talk Mr. Hawkins over. We will, and we'll give him his share, to be sure, for all his kindness. So I'm going to leave it off there. Thank you for watching, and please rate it if you like. You can give it a thumbs up, or if you didn't like it, just go down, thumbs down, or leave a comment, or like I say, view or subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.